This weekend, not only Father's Day, but also Trooping the Color, the parade that marks the monarch's birthday. And joining us now with all the details is royal expert Patricia Treble. Patricia, good morning. Good to see you as always. All right, big day on Saturday. We saw everything from Charles on horseback to Prince Louis once again stealing the show. Can you take us through the events of the day?
Sure. So you had the traditional. You had the pomp, the circumstance, and you had 5-year-old royals being 5-year-olds. That was Louis on the balcony. But you also had a lot in first. So you mentioned previously that it was the first, obviously, Trooping the Color of the King. First on horseback since 1986, since his mum. He was on a new horse, an RCMP horse, like the Queen always rode, a mare named Noble, who acted up a little bit, I'm going to say at times. I think the crowds kind of spooked her a little bit. And we also saw, then this is interesting, is that we saw Camilla and Kate taking part in Trooping the Color. Before they just watched it, but now they're in new roles. So they are the colonels of 2 regiments that were on parade, and they were actually taking part before everyone went back to Buckingham Palace.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about who wasn't there.
Yeah.
And if the king was delivering a message with the staging on the palace balcony.
Yeah. It was a bit empty, I'm going to say. I mean, to me, I found it a bit spare. So there was a little more than a dozen people, all working royals. So this is now the new normal. And this is what he's saying. It's working family. It's not for the big extended family. The late Queen used to love having her cousins, I mean, their grandchildren, everyone packed out. You'd have 40 people on that balcony. Now it's just exclusively to them. And it avoids the issues of Andrew, and it avoids the issues of Harry and Meghan. Scandal. So it just streamlines everything.
Tell us a bit more, if you could, about Louis before we get to Harry and Meghan.
Can't get enough of him.
I know, right?
I know. and I love it. So if you go back in time, though, what you'll see is you'll see William acted up exactly like that at that age. You'll see Andrew and Edward did this exactly the same thing. 5-year-olds, because you've got all this pageantry, you've got all this military spectacle, and then you've got a huge fly past. And this was the fly past that was delayed from the coronation because they had bad weather. They had low cloud cover. They had to cancel most of it. So this was a massive fly past. And so he's looking up and he's seeing all these huge jets going overhead, really, really low. It is thundering. It is deafening if you're ever in London. And so he's just having fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
5-year-old being a 5-year-old.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about the Spotify deal that has broken up. What more do you know about this?
So they signed this deal in 2020 at a time when streaming services were signing massive contracts. They were locking up talent, high-name stars. And now, basically, the bills are coming due. And this is happening across the entire industry. They're taking a very hard look at who's productive and who's not. And as the Wall Street Journal, which broke the story, said, they did not meet performance markers. And so they won't get the whole amount of the deal. It's rumored to be about $20 million, so this is a big deal. Basically because in 3 years, they did one 12-part series. I mean, and a Christmas special. And that's, in podcasting terms, not a lot. There are rumors about what's happening with the Netflix deal as well. That is a much bigger deal, but their big 6-part series was the top streaming series of all of 2022. But again, not a lot coming after that. The long-delayed Invictus documentary, but it's supposed to come before the Invictus Games this fall. We'll see. Nothing else has been announced.
So what does this mean for Harry and Meghan moving forward when it comes to business and business deals? As a matter of fact, there are reports today that Meghan is set to sign a deal with Dior and become maybe one of the highest paid influencers on social media. Yeah,
there's also a lot of rumors that she's going to be resurrecting her TIG site. So this was a lifestyle site that she had, that she closed down when she became engaged to Harry. I'm wondering if those deals are going to come to fruition. And if they do, though, what they have to do is they have to in some way differentiate themselves from all the other celebrities who have these deals. And they have to really look at a long-term strategy because, of course, this is them forever, and they have a very expensive lifestyle. We're also hearing that they're apparently shopping a lot of their stuff around to other media organizations. I mean, because they want to produce more. They have said that they want to go back from the revelatory stuff that they've been doing for the last 3 years. But complicating that, there's a writer's strike. So I think there's a lot of wheels in motion. I think the next year will kind of we'll see how they're going to be going for the next probably 5 years.
Okay. All right. Before we wrap up, Father's Day was yesterday, and the royal family posted a little bit.
Exactly. So we had a lovely picture of William with his kids. Of course, Louis all over him. And it was just one of those fun little snapshots. And it's, of course, ahead of the fact William is turning 41 on Wednesday. So it was a combo. And I love the picture because it's so natural, and it's just, he loves being a dad. And you really see that in the picture.
For sure. Tell us about William's birthday coming up, as you mentioned, on Wednesday. He's just done a big interview with the Sunday Times.
Huge interview. So this is the kind of the big interview since he became Prince of Wales. And the thing about Prince of Wales is, yes, fancy title, you're the heir to the throne, but you also become in charge of what's the Duchy of Cornwall. So this is a massive ancient estate which finances all the heirs to the throne. It's been going for like 700 years. And he talked about, he wants, one of the things his big social cause is homelessness. And he wants to put that into action on the duchy. They do a lot of building. Now, Charles did a lot of social housing on the estate. William is saying he wants to focus on not only social housing, but housing for the homeless, especially young people who are increasing, like they're having to couch surf, you know, they're just precariously, so they're not necessarily on the street, but precariously living. And he wants to really focus on that and help that because, like in Canada, huge housing crisis in Britain.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Patricia, thank you so much for the update.
You're more than welcome.